Wait, so you like concerts, podcasts, and music, and you don't listen to Concerts That Made Us podcast? Oh man, you're missing out. You've got to head over there straight away. They have interviews with the best up and coming bands, as well as some famous ones thrown in the mix too. And don't even get me started on the concert stories. Oh man, are they wild. That's Concerts That Made Us podcast. New episodes every Thursday on all podcast players.
Yes, sir. Hello, and welcome back to the Cognitive Discourse. So some of you may or may not know that I skipped a week last week. August has been a pretty interesting month for sure. So I turned 33 this month. On the 18th of August was my birthday, and I'm the good old 33 years old. I always joke with everybody and said I stopped counting at 30 because, I mean, there's really nothing else to look forward to after like 25. You know, we have you have families that celebrate Sweet 16, and then you hit 18 years old, and then you can buy cigarettes, yay, and I think you can buy even some guns, like shotguns and stuff, and then when you turn 21, you can legally drink and you can buy more guns. And then when you turn 25, your insurance rate goes down. I know for males, I don't know, it might even go down earlier for females, but for males at 25, your insurance goes down. And then there's really nothing else after that. You just start waking up every day a little more sore. So yeah, August 18th, I turned 33, and, I wasn't able to really celebrate, one, because prices of everything is just going up, so we're trying to be as frugal as possible with our money. And another thing is that my daughter, that same week, actually that day, on my birthday, I was taking care of my daughter. She got diarrhea out of nowhere. I think she just had an upset stomach, and for a couple of days she just had some runny poops and wasn't feeling too good. Her tummy was a little upset, and she kept having accidents and kept, sorry, Daddy. And like, it's okay. So we spent time to get her back to normal, and was giving her Pedialyte, and I gave her a little bit of Pepto, and I was kind of scared to give it to her, but I gave it to her, and she did okay with it, and it helped somewhat. But yeah, overall, she just kind of had to run her course, and I just made sure that we kept her hydrated, and she likes playing doctor in the house anyway. So when we got the Pedialyte, she didn't want the Pedialyte. We tried putting it in a cup and pretending like it was Kool-Aid or something, and she wasn't having it. She didn't like it, and so I kind of had to switch it up as a dad and kind of play her role of how she likes to play doctor. She likes Doc McStuffins, and so she likes to come over and check Daddy and check Mommy and check her nanny, her grandma, and her brother, and she likes to play, a caretaker. And so I was like, okay, well, you know what? We're gonna play make believe. Then Daddy's gonna be your caretaker now. I'm gonna be your doctor. And so I had some old syringes that we used to use when they were babies. We used to give them like gripe water and stuff when they were really young. And so I had a few of those left over. So I went ahead and just like filled up a syringe with Pedialyte. And I'd bring it over to her, like, okay, baby girl, now we got to have some medicine, because she was complaining that her butt would hurt. She's like, Daddy, my butt hurts, because of the diarrhea. I guess after a while, her butt just kind of got raw. So I'm like, okay, well, this is going to help your butt, and it's going to help your stomach, okay? So we're going to take a shot. And so I just give her little, syringe fulls of Pedialyte throughout the day, multiple times a day, and she would drink it that way. So it worked. We figured it out. So yeah, that we had that, and then literally right after that, like a week later, or what week are we in? Week or two later. So last week, today's I'm recording this episode kind of early, but so the following week, I woke up and woke up that Monday. Well, Sunday it started bothering me. So that my birthday I think was on a Wednesday or Thursday, and then that weekend, that Sunday night, my eye started bothering me. And so I was used to it. So let's backtrack a little bit. Back in when my daughter was about 2 years old, we were playing on the bed and she poked me in my eye. And her nail, I don't know if her nail cut my cornea or what, but it really, like, she screwed up my eye. And for I was out of work for a whole week. That was back when I used to work at Mercedes-Benz. I was a driver. I couldn't even open my right eye. It felt like something was in my eye. It was red. It was light sensitive. The moment I opened the eye and any kind of light hit it, my eye would just start draining like fluid. And it was bad. But I never went to the doctor. I just kind of was like, it'll heal on its own. I'll leave it be. I'm very... I'm a wuss when it comes to certain kind of pains. Like, I have a high pain tolerance, but I get irritated when anybody touches my eyes, and I don't like people fucking around in my mouth. So like anywhere else, I'm golden. I mean, I've ripped chunks of skin off. I've burnt my skin. I've broken stuff, and those were all cool. I was fine with those. But shots in the mouth and anybody touching my eyeball, it just freaks me the fuck out. It's one of the reasons why I don't wear contacts. I have astigmatism as well. So, at the time when we were talking contacts when I was younger, astigmatism, contacts were really expensive. I think over the years it's probably gotten cheaper. I don't know. But I would assume so. But I've always just had glasses. I never liked eye drops, nothing like that. And typically if I'm sick, I tend to just sleep it off. Well, that's what I did. After about a week, I healed. On that second week, I was a little rough, but I was able to go back to work. And then from that point on, I would say about 3 to 4 times a year, towards this time of year, I would get that feeling again in my eye. I typically wouldn't get light sensitive, but it would feel like I had like a lash or dirt or something in my eye. And every time I blink, it felt like it was in there in my eye. And on the low end of the spectrum, it would just feel like an eyelash. On the high end of the spectrum, sometimes it would get so irritated that it would feel like a piece of like a toothpick was in my eye and just bouncing around every time I would blink. So it made it really hard to keep my eye open. It was really hard to stay, have like a focus sight line. Like my bright eye would get blurry, and so like I would just go to sleep. And like I said, this would happen about 3 to 4 times a year around this time of year when allergies would get really bad. As you can hear, I'm sniffling. My allergies are kind of bad right now. It just rained too, so hopefully tomorrow I'll be okay. But yeah, so I just would sleep it off, and it became almost a normal thing in my life. I knew that it was going to happen, and it got to a point where, like, even waking up in the mornings, most people would have like eye boogers or like the crust over the eyes. People are, if you're listening to this, you've had it at least once in your life. Mine was a little different where I couldn't open my eye. It was basically, it felt like let's say that the eye got dry overnight and then the lens just kind of got stuck to the eyeball. So I would have to assist with my fingers to kind of pry my right eye open. And if I got if there was something that happened quickly that jerked me out of my sleep, that woke me up suddenly, it could cause my eye to bug me for a couple days. Like, again, I'd get that feeling something was in my eye. Well, I figured, like, fuck it, this is just how life is. I'm bullheaded. I don't like going to the doctor. And I don't have insurance. I've never had insurance. And so I was just like, I don't want to pay for it. Which is a dumb thing to do. If you need to go to the doctor, please go. And this is coming from somebody who also is always very like, no, I'm good. I'll walk it off. And this was kind of eye-opening, with no pun intended, but this was eye-opening. So Sunday, that Sunday, which was like August 20-something, I started feeling that feeling coming. So I told them that, hey, it's coming again, fucking allergies, Monday was kind of how it normally feels. And then Monday night, my mom was over. We had made dinner and stuff, but I couldn't focus on the TV. Like I started getting the light sensitivity, and my eye was blurry and it was watery. And I was like, man, this is worse than it normally is. And so I was like, I'm just going to go to sleep. So I went to sleep. That Tuesday morning, I ended up waking up. So this was about a week ago, because I know these episodes come out on Friday, but I'm recording this episode on an actual Monday. So a week ago from today, almost a week ago from today, because tomorrow will be Tuesday, I woke up and my eye was bloodshot red. It was runny. It was gross. And I couldn't see very well. So it freaked me out. That Tuesday, I believe, is when I went to the doctor. I think I went that day. It might have been Wednesday I went. Yeah, it was Wednesday, because, okay, so Tuesday I dealt with the redness, and I was like, I'm just going to go back to sleep, and I'm going to hopefully sleep it off. I was being stubborn about it. I sent a picture to a few people. Like my sister. My sister works for an eye doctor, so I sent it to her to get kind of like, hey man, do you know what this is? Do you think, how much does your doctor charge? Is it possible? Because I was at that point, I was already thinking I need to go see a doctor. And my sister's like, I'm not at work right now, because it's kind of late in the day. I slept all the whole day thinking that, maybe I just need to sleep. And then so later in the afternoon on Tuesday, that's when I started kind of contacting people like, hey, what is this? And so the first thing I want to put out before we get into what happened and everything. So one of the things I did is, again, I wanted to find a reasonable doctor. So I reached out to my sister, who works with eye doctors. Of course, her eye doctor is a specialist, so I didn't know that eye doctors were, there's certain things that they specialize in, and that'll come into play later in the episode here too. So she basically just looked at the picture that I sent her and said, more than likely it looks like you have pink eye. She used the actual medical term, but she was talking about pink eye, and that's what I thought it probably might have been too. I have little ones. They fucking sleep on my bed. One of them could have farted on my pillow. Poo sample. Poo could have got on my bed somehow, and I didn't know. They could have fucking touched my face with poo fingers. Who knows? They're little kids. Little kids are gross. As much as you try to keep them clean, they get dirty. So that was my go-to. And I was like, well, because this eye also, I in my mind, it had never really healed from when my daughter poked me. I was like, maybe it's more, susceptible to becoming pink eye or whatever, So with that being said, I ended up taking a picture of it and I put it on, I'm on Facebook all the time. I'm part of Facebook groups. And so I'm part of a community Facebook within the city that I live in. And people always will post things of like, hey, where's a good place to go for, changing your brakes? Where's a good place? Who makes cakes and for a party, and who does this? And we try to keep everything local. So I put my thing on there and said, hey, does anybody know of a good doctor that I could go see who's reasonable? I don't have insurance to be paying out of pocket, that I can go see reasonably with this potential eye infection that I have. And it was an interesting Facebook post. So you really get to see different sides of people. One of the things that made me laugh was that you had a group of people who were like, it just looks like pink eye. Go to Walmart, get some over-the-counter shit, and you'll be fine. So there were those groups of people. And the funny thing is that there was a group of those people who were like they knew exactly what they were talking about. And like, don't listen to all these other people. Just go to Walmart, get some drops, put them in your eye, you'll be fine. And then there's the other group of people who are saying, go to an ER. Just go to an ER, go to a med clinic, and they'll take care of you. And, I see where they're coming from, because, again, I don't have insurance. That seems like the most, logical go-to, right? And then you have the other people who are like, hey man, don't listen to anybody on here. You need to go find a specialist. Go to an eye doctor, find a specialist, and get the right treatment, because you would have people debate, like, you could buy some over the counter shit and it may be more severe, or you can go to an ER or a clinic and then get misdiagnosed because they don't specialize in eyes. They're just they're doctors, they're medical doctors, but they're not specialized in the field of eyes, which made complete sense to me. And of course, the way I phrased my question was, does anybody know of a doctor that I can go see who's not expensive? Right? So in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, people are going to interpret that as eye doctor. I didn't know I had to be specific. So the people that were coming to me and telling me, go see a specialist, I understood where they were coming from. And I was also laughing at the fact that people were just like chalking it up as it wasn't a big deal. Just go to the Walmart, get some eye drops, throw them in your eye, and you'll be fine. It was just bad advice. And it becomes more apparent that it was bad advice once I actually went to the doctor. So I'm reading all these comments, and I'm basically just like trying to find a good doctor. People are now, and then there are a few of them that were actually naming specific doctors, specific clinics, which is what I wanted. So I can actually go online, I can research a little bit, I can look into these doctors, I can look at their ratings, because I want to go to not only a well-rated doctor, but if he's also affordable, great. Those two combinations are hard to find. That you get what you pay for kind of deal. And it ultimately just, I was like, you know what? My mom has an eye doctor, and from where we live, her eye doctor is literally like 1.5 miles from our house. So I called my mom and said, hey, Mom, is your doctor pretty reasonable? And she goes, I don't know, Joseph. I have insurance. I was like, well, is he nice? She goes, yeah, he's a really good doctor. I was like, he's really thorough and stuff. She's like, yeah, he's a good doctor. He's treated me really well. He comes off very caring. So do you want to go see him? And my mom had been trying to push me to go to the doctor for a while. So the fact that I'm calling her and letting her know, or asking these questions, she's like, let's just go. I was like, okay, well, can you take me in the morning? She's like, yeah, I'll take you. So Wednesday morning we get up. I'm ready to go because I can't sleep. I'm literally waking up from Tuesday night up until Saturday night. Every single night I'm waking up around 3 or 4 in the morning with this feeling of, like I said, like there was a toothpick in my eye. So I'm walking around the living room, pacing around the living room, cussing because it hurt to open my eye and it hurt to close my eye. When I closed my eye, it felt like the toothpick was in there. And when I opened my eye, it felt like it was jostling around, so I couldn't focus on anything, and then my eye's just running everywhere. And then on top of that, it's super light sensitive. I'm talking, I can't look at my phone, I can't look at my computer, I can't look at my TV. I was sitting in a dark room, and even if I was sitting in the room and my wife would open the door, my bedroom door, and the light creeped in from the other room, even if I'm not looking at the door, I'm looking at the wall, but the light just happens to hit the wall, that hurt. So we go to the doctor Wednesday morning. My mom drives me, and I wasn't able to see her actual doctor, but I got another doctor. Fucking cool ass doctor, man. He was awesome. It was kind of hard to understand him because he was Chinese, so his English was a little broken, but he was super caring, super laid back, and really worked with me. So we went in, and it was cool. Like, I had to pay for the initial visit, which was kind of expensive, but it was still under $100. It's about $80 a pop to go see this doctor. And that's just to see him. That doesn't include if he ends up having to do x-rays or anything like that. Like, just the flat fee is $80. So when I first heard that, I was like, yeah, that's not bad. And again, in my head, I'm thinking, I'm going to have to see him once, right? And what's $80? Okay, here you go. And then whatever the prescriptions are. Okay, cool, fine, whatever. So I pay the $80, and then I go and sit down, and we talk to the doctor. So I go over everything with the nurse, and then I go over everything with the doctor. Well, after they looked at my eye, it turns out I had herpetitis, I can't pronounce it. It's some form of herpes. There's two kinds of herpes. So you have your genital herpes that everybody knows of, the STD kind of herpes that, everybody's afraid of. And then there's the other kind of form of herpes, which pretty much everybody has. If you've ever had chicken pox, it's in your system. It just kind of lays dormant. And there are things that can trigger it. And so we were kind of going through my medical thing of things that have happened to me here recently. And I told them that I also suffered from shingles the year before. So last year I actually had gotten shingles on my stomach. And when I said that, it clicked in the doctor and in the nurse's head. And they're like, that explains the eye. So they asked me, did you have chicken pox when you were little? I was like, yeah. And they're like, okay, so, the shingles were, the chicken pox, you still have it in your system. The shingles were triggered, and then the eye was triggered. And one of the things that they had mentioned was it could have been possible stress-induced, which I told them, I was like, well, that sounds about right. For the past 4 or 5 years, I've been pretty stressed out. There's a lot that's happened in my personal life, with my career, with my marriage, with, just overall my perception on life, with friends, family. There's a bunch of different things that have come into my life that have affected me on a stress level. And then also the fact that I haven't been keeping up with trying to stay in physical shape. I've kind of let myself go. It was the perfect storm that created this issue. Now, if we go back to the Facebook and we talk about how these people told me just to go to Walmart and get drops, after I heard all this, I kind of was like, fuck those people. Granted, they didn't know the situation fully, but to just chalk it up as it's just that, it really changed my perspective on things. It's like, no, I started looking at life a little bit differently. I got to stop being that type of person, because I'm that type of person. I'll just sleep it off. I'll take an Advil and go to sleep. I didn't realize the severity of it. So what the doctor basically told me is, had I not, it became a medical emergency, because the rush of when I needed to go get this stuff was immediate. So he went ahead and put drops in my eyes immediately. And they gave me prescriptions, and they said, go get these immediately. Don't mess around. Go get these now. You need to start on your medication now. Because I was on the verge of losing my eye. I don't know if I'm out of the woods yet. I hope. I have another doctor's appointment on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. So, back to Wednesday, he looks at my eye, and, he tells me, yeah, you have this, I think it's called HSV if you Google it, but it's like herpel virus. It's spelled basically herpes virus, and then there's another word after it. It looks like conjunctivitis or some shit. That's spelled with a K. But I think if you type in HSV in Google, it should come up. But yeah, I ended up having that, and he gave me some drops. And this is my issue with big pharma. Prescription drugs, man, it pisses me off. So they were going to give me the name brand stuff, which was like a gel to put in my eye. Because I at the time when he told me, he's like, you can do drops, I was like, well, is there a pill option? Because, I'm kind of a wuss, and I don't know if I can do the drops. And he's like, well, there are pills that you can take. He's like, but we need to attack it at the source. He's like, so we're going to do the drops, which is funny because in my head, I'm like, well, can I do the pills too? So in case, I'm going to be learning how to put drops in on the fly. You know what I mean? So I would have liked to have the pills as backup. But he's like, look, I'll show you how to do it. And he went and got me a sample of the name brand prescription that they were going to put me on. So originally he was going to put me on 2 different types of drops. And one of them was the name brand, which was a gel. And then the other one was a drop, an actual eye drop. Well, then the nurse told him, hey, they're paying he's going to be paying out of pocket And these prescriptions are not cheap. So they're like antifungal, viral meds. So they're super expensive. And when they said that, I was like, oh, how expensive? I'm thinking $80, $90, right? That, to me, that's expensive for a prescription drug. Come to find out, the gel one that he was going to give me, name brand, get ready for this. If you're wearing socks, I'm about to knock them off. $500. $500 for fucking gel that goes into my eyeball. $500 fucking dollars. That's a PlayStation 5, bro. That's a car payment. Like, what? That's half my rent. So, again, I want to say thank you to my doctor, to my nurse. They were fucking awesome. They're like, we're not going to make you pay that because you're paying out of pocket. There is an alternative. There is a generic version of this. It's not in the gel form, though. It is drops, but it's way cheaper. And they're like, we're going to give you that. And the doctor said, well, since you're paying out of pocket too, I'm not going to put you on those 2 drops. We're just going to give you the generic ones. I'm going to give you a sample that has the gel of the name brand. He goes, use this first. When you run out of that, then you can use the drops. I said, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. And so, I got my prescription. He basically told me I have to do the drops 5 times a day. He said, do the drops 5 times a day and then come back and see me on Friday. So this was on Wednesday. So I started the treatment Wednesday. I did the gel. And the cool thing about the gel is he showed me how to put it on really easily, which is basically pull my lid down, squeeze the gel out, and just put it on the inside, like make a bowl with the bottom of my lid, put it in there, start blinking, and it coats the eye. So that's what I did. But I don't think that I was putting enough Wednesday, because we were trying to ration it. Because one, I was kind of dreading starting the drops themselves, but 2, because this is the name brand gel, I was hoping that, I could keep that around as long as possible, which I think it was doing more harm than good. And I'll explain why in a minute. But we go to HEB, and on top of this stuff being fucking expensive, it's hard to find. So the nurse told me before we left, she's like, before you leave, I just want to let you know, this stuff is going to be really hard to find, but don't give up on it. Because she was like, where are we going to go? And I was like, there's a Walmart that we typically go to. My mom knows the pharmacist there, so we typically get all of our stuff there. She goes, I wouldn't go to Walmart first. I would check out HEB, because HEB will probably be the most likable place to have it, if not CVS or Walgreens. She goes, but CVS and Walgreens are expensive. So we're like, okay, well, there's an HEB by the house. We'll go by there. And thank God they had it. We only had to go to one place. So I go into the HEB, and because of the pharmacist that works there, I'm actually, if I ever have meds, he's the guy I'm going to go see because he's fucking awesome. So I go into the pharmacy and I give him my prescription, and he's like, what's your insurance? I was like, I'm paying out of pocket. And he goes, okay, man, I'll take care of you. He goes, I'm just letting you know these are a little pricey. I was like, yeah, I heard. I was like, my doctor was going to put me on the name brand, and I was not about to cough out $500 for them. So I heard the generics are a little bit cheaper. He's like, yeah, they're cheaper. He's like, they're still expensive, but they're cheaper. I'm like, how much expensive are we talking? And he goes, let me look it up real quick. So he looks it up. It doesn't come out to almost $200. It was about 190 something, but after taxes, it would have been about $200. He's like, I have a few ways I can give you some discounts. He's like, so I'll try to give you some discounts, and we'll see how low we can get it. I was like, okay, cool, man. I appreciate it. He goes, give me about 30 minutes to get the prescription ready and, come back. I was like, all right, cool. So went back 30 minutes later. And the cool thing is somebody on Facebook. So I did give an update, and I gave an update on Facebook because I wanted those people who were telling me, oh, just get drops, to kind of read what, no, this was a little more serious than we all thought it would be, And then somebody was like, hey man, go to download, I think it's called GoodRx. What is the app? Let me open my phone here. Yeah, GoodRx. She was like, if you download GoodRx, you can get, it helps you get discounts on on prescriptions. So people who are listening, I didn't know about this stuff. People who have prescriptions probably already know about this app, but if you don't know, I'm not sponsored or anything. I heard from somebody, and so if you're on medications, check it out. You could probably get your medications cheaper, especially if you don't have insurance. But most of the people who are having to, like me, I'm looking to try to get on an insurance plan because I'm probably going to need it, and we'll get there in a minute of why I'm probably going to need insurance now. So I went back to the HEB, and he was able to get it down to $114. So he saved me almost half, which I was super ecstatic about. $114 is still outrageous for some medication. But the fact that I could have been paying $200, and instead I was paying $114, I can't complain, man. That was awesome. And thank you to that pharmacist. And I later found out that that's what he was using. He used GoodRx on top of some like HCB discounts that they have. So I was able to get it fairly cheap, and I was very, very appreciative of it. And so I go home and we start the drops. I had a follow-up Friday. I show up Friday. My eye is still red, still pretty light sensitive. If I'm being honest, Wednesday and Thursday didn't really feel much better. It didn't feel like the medicine was doing anything. I was still waking up at 4 a.m. With this. I was afraid to go to sleep. And so Friday comes around, the doctor looks at my eye. Now, mind you, I used the gel Wednesday, and then on Thursday I said, you know what, fuck this. I don't think I'm putting enough in there. And I was starting to run out anyway. And so I moved over to the drops. And I will say that I didn't skip. I did it 5 times a day. I actually did a little bit more because I did get a feeling of relief when I started using the drops. And which was funny because I didn't even really need a time. I had my phone set every 2 hours to go off so I could put the drops. But that Thursday and Friday, I didn't need an alarm. Like, my eye would feel good, and then when it would get close to that 2 hour mark and I'd have to do it again, like I was almost like my body was almost begging for it. Because my eye would start to fuck with me again. But yeah, I still couldn't use the TV, still couldn't be on the phone, still couldn't do computer. That's why we skipped the episode for Cognitive Discourse, is I couldn't even get on the computer to upload. I had an episode, I just couldn't get on here to upload it. I just couldn't see. So go to the doctor on Friday. I see him. He looks at my eye. He's like, it's getting better, but it's not getting better fast enough. Like, not the way I want it to. It was a slow process. So Friday, he wrote me a prescription for pills. So I'm now on pills and eye drops, which is what I wanted in the beginning. And the pills are basically just an antifungal, virus type pill, and they're strong, so it's killing any kind of fucking shit that I have in my system. And the funny thing is that I feel a hell of a lot better. So it wasn't just my eye that was fucked up. I think that I've been dealing with my immune system has not been what it's supposed to be, and that shows with the fact that I got shingles, and then my eye has been fucking with me for the past 3 years. I have not been okay. And I didn't realize how bad my immunity was until I went and got checked out. And then I'm getting these pills, and these pills are helping my immunity out because my body didn't have the means to fight. So with that being said, I will say that I'm very happy that I didn't catch COVID during all of this. I'm happy that I stuck to my guns and didn't get the shot, because no telling what would have happened. Even with getting the jab, that could have really fucked me up, because my immune system is weak. And I will say this past weekend, I felt better than I've ever felt. and I think my immunity being the way it was contributed to the fact that why I was always sleepy, why I was lethargic, why I wasn't eating. It probably played into my depression, and I feel a lot. I feel more cheerful and chippier, and I feel like I feel like my old self again, my young self. So yeah, I've been doing the drops. He increased on Friday. He told me to increase it from 5 to 8 times a day. So I've been doing it 8 times a day. So every 2 hours from like 9 in the morning until about 11 at night. That's my eye drop window. I take a pill twice a day. So I take one in the morning and then I take one after dinner at nighttime. The only drawback I've had from those pills so far is that the top of my hands have gotten red and kind of dry. Mainly my left hand, my right hand, not too much, kind of around my knuckles and the side of my hand where my pinky is. But the whole top part of my left hand is kind of red and scaly. But it doesn't really itch, doesn't bother me. It's almost, it brings me back to the memory of when I used to work at Sam's Club and I worked in the freezers. I worked in the freezers day in and day out. And I worked in them so much that like my skin basically got dry on my hands, and it was the same thing. It was red hands, dry, scaly skin. And then when I would take a hot shower, I could feel the hot water on my hand. Like it felt like a sunburn almost. So that's kind of the feeling that I have now. Not as extreme as when I worked in the freezers, but it's kind of what it is. I think it just took the moisture out of my hands. I put a little bit of lotion on there. Thank God it doesn't burn or anything, but it keeps it from itching and stuff like that. So now I'm taking pills and I'm taking the drops. But the other bad news that I had on Friday was they checked the pressure of my left eye, which is completely okay. It wasn't red, and I haven't had issues with my left eye. It is my weaker eye when it comes to vision, which is funny. The eye that was infected, when I did my eye test the first time on Wednesday, I did better with that eye than I did my left eye. So go figure. But on Friday when I went in, I think it might have been just the nurse that I had. The nurse that I had, because I didn't go to the same clinic. He bounces around. So on Wednesday, he was at the office by my house. And then on Friday, I had to go downtown. He was at a different clinic downtown. So I had a different set of nurses there. And, the nurse kind of rubbed my mom the wrong way, in the sense that like the nurse was kind of laughing at me because I was being kind of a baby about the drops. Like I've gotten used to putting them in myself. Having somebody do it for me, it kind of freaks me out. I also have really long lashes. So that's kind of a bummer too, because if you touch my lash, it causes my eye to wince a little bit. It's just a protective thing. You know what I mean? So anyway, she was kind of laughing at me because he made her put some drops in my eye so he could check my eye, because when they were doing the pressure test, which I fucking hate, it blows air in your eye, and my pressure was a little high on my left eye. So he wanted to check that out. And so I'm a low risk early sign of glaucoma. So he gave me drops for that. And again, he's fucking awesome. He was like, I have some sample drops. So I'm going to give you a box of the sample drops. He's like, I want you to put a drop once a day at nighttime before bed in your left eye with these drops. Continue doing everything you're doing with your right eye, but with your left eye, put these in here. I'm also going to refer you to a specialist so we can get your cornea looked at in your right eye, make sure everything's good there. Because I did mention, my daughter scratching me, even though it was 3 years ago. He just wants to be thorough. And he also said that, we're going to have them look at your both eyes for glaucoma. And I told him, I was like, well, it might be high because I was tense. Because when she was doing it, I was tense. So when I go in on Tuesday, tomorrow, I know what test they need to do for that. So I know that being tense is going to cause my eye pressure numbers to not be accurate. So tomorrow I know when I go in, and also my right eye is not as sensitive. It was hard to not tense up while they were fucking with my left eye, because I had to leave my right eye open as well, and it was light sensitive. So I think all of that kind of culminated that might have made my eye pressure high. So I'm not too worried about the glaucoma thing. It does run in my family. My sister was freaking out. But for me, I'm like, I think that there's, again, a perfect storm that kind of may have raised that concern. But if I do have early stages of glaucoma, I mean, it is what it is. We learn, we adapt. If anything, I'm glad that we found it early before it became a huge issue. It's not something that you can cure or get rid of, but if you can find it early enough, you can take the right precautions and the right steps to make sure that it doesn't get worse to where you ultimately lose your vision. Because that's what I don't want to do, is I don't want to lose my eyesight. So like I said, overall it really woke me up. Like I said, no pun intended, but it was an eye-opening experience to live through, to go through. And again, to hear that I might have glaucoma at such a young age is kind of freaks me out a little bit. But at the end of the day, you know, being a dad, like, my life has changed so much, man. Like, when I was younger, I wasn't afraid of anything. You know, I was a little daredevil. I would do stupid shit and not really think about the consequences. And now it's like, man, I have kiddos, and, you know, like, I want to see them grow up, and I want them to grow up healthy and happy. And so it's almost like I have to set a good example, you know. My daughter was a fucking awesome little kid during the whole time. My son's too young to kind of understand what's going on, but my daughter would come up to me and, "Oh, Daddy, your eye not good? No, Daddy's eye's not good. Oh, I take care of you, Daddy." You know, she wants to take care of me, and she tries her best to take care of Daddy, and it's heartwarming, and it's just, it also helped me not feel so alone. On a personal level, I've kind of felt alone here recently. So to have my daughter there and you know, wanting to take care of Daddy, really, it made me feel good. You know, a few people reached out to me, and you know, some of the phone games that I play and stuff, you know, I had to tell them, hey, you know, I can't play right now. I have some issues I need to take care of. And the fact that they were, I mean, I had a couple of them egging me to go to the doctor at the beginning. So, you know, I want to say thank you for that. Just having people take that initiative really, and then to follow up with me, you know, to see if I'm doing okay was awesome. But yeah, you know, it's just, I look at life a lot differently. And again, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, because I have kids, because life as a whole, like, death is inevitable. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't want to get too philosophical there. There's a Neil deGrasse Tyson quote that I want to, or clip that I'll probably put in here at the end of this, which I stumbled upon during all of this, during this affirmation, if you will, that I was having. And yeah, man, I'm starting to kind of view life a little differently. And like I said, I'll try to put that clip up here. I might have to use my phone, unless I can find the video and pull the audio directly. But it put a lot of things into perspective. In the words of the Mexican Cholo in Training Day, life's a trip, que no? But yeah, man, I definitely mentally went through some shit the past few years. And then knowing that it physically started to take a toll on me, it made me realize that there's change in my life that I need to make. And, I always preach about positivity and about not letting negative things into your life, not let negativity into the ether. And I think I need to really start practicing what I preach. I seriously need to start living that. Because, like I said, I want to see my kids grow up. I want to see them achieve great things. I want to be able to help them when I can, teach them everything that I know, but also learn from them. So that way when I'm gone, regardless of how big it is, I left some kind of mark. But yeah, it's been an interesting week. It's been an interesting month. Definitely an August that I'm not going to forget. Hopefully, I can stick with a healthier lifestyle. I can stick with the positivity. I can stick with the positive energy and keep moving forward. If you're struggling with something in life, man, definitely reach out to someone. And if you're dealing with something on a medical plane, go get it checked out. When people say your health is important, it is. Both mental and body. I'm definitely going to stop treating my body as a play place and start definitely treating my body more as a temple. Not only for myself, but for my kiddos. It's been an interesting ride. And with that said, if you guys listen to the other podcast that I do with my buddy Nolan, Basic Ass Dudes, episode 3 will be getting recorded tomorrow, Tuesday. And so hopefully we'll have that out by next Monday. It's my turn to host, so I'm excited about it. I have a pretty cool topic that I want to talk about, which is also going to reflect an episode that I'm going to do here on the Cognitive Discourse, which will go into depth more about the said topic on episode 3. But yeah, if you haven't checked out Basic Ass Dudes yet, we are on YouTube. Just type in Basic Ass Dudes. We have 2 episodes up right now. Trailers come out on the Saturday before the show comes out on Monday. They come out bi-weekly, so we typically do the video on 1 week, and then the week that we're not releasing a new episode, we release the audio on all streaming platforms. Spotify, iTunes, Apple, Google, all that stuff. So yeah, check out Basic Ass Dudes with my buddy Nolan. Also check out his podcast, Every Podcast I Love Is Dead. He is a rock, metal, and punk news show, and he also interviews bands. There's a feeling of music community within both podcasts, Basic Ass Dudes and every Podcast I Love Is Dead. You can check him out on all your streaming services as well. Visit his website at everypodcastiloveisdead.com. As always, you can listen to me on Spotify and all streaming platforms. I am still trying to catch up on YouTube. I'm a little behind. I'm about 5-6 episodes behind. So if you check out my YouTube channel, you'll see older episodes on there, and I still have some that I need to post on there. It got away from me. So again, with everything that happened and with me taking this medication and me feeling better, I'm really excited to see how much more interactive I can be, how much more productive, like you said, interactive, but more productive. I enjoy doing all this stuff. I'm working on music. I have friends sending me, drum samples and stuff like that, wanting me to make guitar and bass tracks to them. And it's really inspiring. It's awesome. Even if they don't use, my vision of what I hear musically with their drum beat, if they end up using somebody else's, the fact that they asked me was still, I appreciate that. It felt great. And then I'm still trying to finish writing some of my music. I know I keep saying Among War's coming out with more stuff and Among War's coming out with new stuff. It is. I just need to finish writing it. I have a fuck ton of songs that are half-ass written that I need to go back and finish. I got a good probably 10 songs that are not complete. And then I got another like 5 or 6 in my head that I need to just actually sit down and record. And then, of course, I have some other original Among War tracks that were around when the original band was around, that I want to re-record and kind of add a little spin to it and add a little flavor to it without switching too much. I did do that to one of the songs. I kind of like completely switched it up, and the drummer of Among War was kind of like, "Hey, man, I miss the original," so I might have to have I might try to recreate that original song musically. I haven't decided yet, but yeah, man, that's about it. This episode got a little bit long. Sorry about that, but as always, I'll have all the links down in the description for you guys, so you can check out Basic Ass Dudes. You can check out Every Podcast I Love Is Dead. Check out some other things that I'm doing. I like I said, I have some t-shirt brands that I'm trying to build up and stuff like that. I have a YouTube cover channel that hopefully I won't forget to put in the link in the description, so you want to see me play some covers. I don't have a lot there. I need to get back on track on that as well, but yeah, I'm trying to stay busy, trying to stay as busy as possible. But thanks for listening. We're starting a new chapter, so hopefully I'm able to keep you guys your attention a little bit better. I think I was sounding a little down on a few episodes, and probably even on this episode, but I'm gonna try to bring my energy levels up a little bit. But until then, enjoy your Friday. Have a safe weekend. And as always, until next time.
If you could live forever, would you?
Yes.
Okay, sure, that's an attractive idea. But the way I look at it is the knowledge that I'm going to die that creates the focus that I bring to being alive. The urgency of accomplishment. The need to express love now, not later. If we live forever, why ever even get out of bed in the morning? Because you always have tomorrow. That's not the kind of life I want to lead.
But why, don't you fear not being around?
I fear living a life where I could have accomplished something and didn't. That's what I fear. I don't fear death. Be ashamed to die until you have scored some victory for humanity.